Welcome to this session of Civil Engineering, Societal and Global Impact. So, today we are going to talk about the module 3, which is known as Infrastructural Development, which is named as Infrastructure. Now, let us see which are the infrastructure of a city, of a country is considered, what are the parameters, and how we can manipulate that, and how we can do the automation into it, and how it can be helpful to our country's citizen. So first of all, it will be going in such a pattern. You can see here, we are going to see the futuristic vision of each and every sector of infrastructural development. Right? You can see here the first is infrastructure, which comes under the mega cities and the smart cities, because these concepts are coming up and India is planning to be having the maximum mega cities and smart cities by 2030, right? And you all know that during this period we have already lagged by 1.5 year, and relating to the economy we are back by almost 5 to 10 years during this pandemic period, right? So let us see what are the automation and what are the sector we are talking in the infrastructure development of our country. Now we are going to see the futuristic vision in transportation sector, in energy generation, water provisioning. Yes, that is the major question. Telecommunication need, awareness of various codes and standards governing infrastructural development, and lastly we are going to see the innovation and methodology of ensuring sustainability. Right. So here there are two main things. First of all, we are going to see the infrastructure habitats. What are that? Which are connection with the facilities of infrastructure, that is rail, right, road. Then we are going to see the other sectors which we are going to see, that is the airport authorities. If we see which are the other transportation modes are coming up, that is all is what is infrastructural habitat, which are connected to one another, and we are going to see that how our economy is developing, right? Next is a very important terminology you can see here is habitat fragmentation. You have to remember this to definition. What is habitat fragmentation? Actually, it is described as the splitting of natural habitat and ecosystem into smaller, more isolated patches. That is known as habitat fragmentation. So majorly there are three concepts for habitat fragmentation, that is transportation, agriculture and urbanization, right, which is known as habitat fragmentation. So habitat, infrastructure habitat and habitat fragmentation both leads to how we are developing our country into mega city and smart city. Now let us discuss about what is mega city. We all know that one with the population over 10 million people, right? So that is known as mega city actually. As of 2017, there are 47 mega cities in the world, and yes, four of these mega cities are Delhi, Mumbai, Kolkata, and Bangalore, which are in India. Right now, you can see here I have shown the urban boom. You can see which are the cities can be considered into the mega cities, and which can be the smart cities also. So our aim and Prime Minister vision is what by 2030 India should be having the maximum mega cities and smart cities. Now let us see about what is smart city. Yes, different things to different people, but in a smarter way. If I tell you, how can be a city called as a smart city? What are the parameters to be considered into it? Right? Yes, it is not like we are using the technology and our city is smart. It is not like that. If we have a smart card and we say that in our city there is a smart card for example BRTS or for example metro, then also it is not considered as smart city. Let us see what are the parameters considered into the smart city. A smart city should have a public participation in development of city, and it should provide modern lifestyle. Now let us see what are the modern lifestyle, what are the parameters considered in smart city. Now let's discuss first of all the institutional infrastructural. Then you can see here we have the physical infrastructure and we have the social infrastructure. What are considered into it? This is the pillars. I guess this is the repeated portion, but yes, you have to remember the main points of what is the smart city considered of, right? So basically it refers to the activity that relate to governance, planning and management of city. The good planning, the good governance, the good technologies, the good software usage in your management and planning will lead you to the good institutional infrastructures, right? Next is automation is very much into the trends. You can see physical infrastructure, what can be mobility, that is the transportation. You can see the water supply facilities, the sanitation facilities. These are all considered as the physical infrastructure which should be properly maintained, right? And the social infrastructure comes under the health infrastructure, public infrastructure, and the education infrastructure. What type of things we have, what type of campaigning we are doing for the health infrastructure? Right now we all know that Ahmedabad is leading in this pandemic situation at this moment, the today's era what we are talking. And yes, there is a lack of knowledge, there is a lack of campaigning, there is a lack of sincerity of the citizen of this city, which is making our economy go down, right? We are not leading into the economy, we are degrading in our economy. And that is the major question, that people are not understanding the importance of what rules and regulations followed by the government, right? Though fines are charged, but people are not maintaining and following that things, which leads that we are not developing our city, but we are degrading our city actually, right? If people is not healthy, if people cannot work, if people cannot do the business, then it leads to the degradation of our economy actually. Next is the public infrastructure, public parks, public gathering facilities like auditoriums and all. Yes, this should be properly been maintained, properly been used, so that our infrastructure can increase and can have a good development. And lastly, the education facilities, proper education to the student, because today's child is tomorrow's future of our country. So basically that parameter is also into with the consideration, that the syllabus modification, what are the technologies or what are the soft skills a student should have, should be taught accordingly to make our city more and more smarter. Next, first of all, let's go and move towards the transportation system. That is the smart transportation, which relates to the smart roads. Let's discuss about it. Roads and highways, traveled way on which people, animal, or wheeled vehicle move. The basic thing. The first transportation was a year ago was the foot. Then came into the animal transportation system, and then we are coming to the technologies which we can use, a rail, road, bus services, etc. Right? So here in the box you can see with the red color I have mentioned the smart transportation, the futuristic vision of transportation. If you have heard, or we are working into this line of action, the very first you can see is the self-driving drone taxis. Then you can see the Maglev train. Then you can see the Hyperloop, satellite-based air traffic control, self-driving electric buses, elevated buses, flying hotel ports, and smart road. Now, first of all, let us discuss about self-driving drone taxis. What is this? Self-driving, you have heard this word, right? Self-driving means the auto mode. Yes, it is not like driver is not there and we can do the car can work on it. Yes, the technology is coming up. It is being found by Elon Musk. Might be Tesla can find that, and hopefully they have on half of their way actually. So here in self-driving drone taxis, basically for the parcel deliveries, which can be done by the Amazon and Flipkart, which is already been replicated in USA by Amazon. Yes, with that help, the delivery which is been done by the agent right now at your home, but it can be done by this. The proper GPS system should be given. In transportation, I would like to tell you there should be a proper GPS and accuracy in GPS system. You might have a question that India have that or not. Actually, India is working on that satellites, and basically with that we can have that in near future. Now let's talk about the Maglev train. We will also discuss in detail what is Maglev train, the fastest train. Yes, it is almost 4 inches above the track and having the good mile speed towards it. So that is a Maglev train which is coming up right now. What is Hyperloop transportation? There is a port rod which is of glass and pressurized thing. So freight and people can travel towards that. What is Hyperloop? Which is actually developed by Elon Musk, who is the founder of Tesla and SpaceX, right? We will see further in detail also what is Hyperloop transportation. It is an glass type port and through which passenger and freight can be transported with the highest speed. Right. Next is elevated buses and self-driving buses. That is the auto mode which are coming up right now. Not much into the use, but yes, a special lane can be made for the self-driving, and through that lane only it is electric buses which can be work on it, right? This has been replicated right now in China only. Almost all this transportation system are replicated in China, Russia, and US, right? Next is the flying hotel ports. What is flying hotel ports? What do you understand by this word? Flying hotel ports means you will be having the flying hotel stay, the drone stay. How the drone camera works, basically you will be having the same thing, helicopter in which people can passenger can sit and have a lavish stay 2 or 3 days, which is almost been hospitalized by Canada but not in India, but we are planning towards it in near future. Next, you can see the smart road. What is smart roads actually? Do you think India is having smart thing on road? Let's see further in detail. Which is able to communicate with the sensors basically. Now let's see. Yes, India have many things smart in the transportation sector also. It is not like that we haven't yet developed. We are developing. We have actually the smart things. Now let us see that smart technologies in road. First of all, let us discuss in detail that is glow in dark. Yes, this technology which we have already. Right? Glow in dark road marking is a better, more adaptable alternative. Which is what? It is glowing. Which what technology is used behind it? We have used that contains the photoluminescing powder that charge up during the day. This is what is glowing dark, right? Photoluminescing powder. You have to remember this word, which has been used in the road markings and that glow in the night. Right. We also have the stickers. We also have the photo charging markings on road. That is also been considered as a glow in dark only technology. Next is interactive lights. What are the interactive lights? When car approaches a particular stretch of road, the motion sensor will light up only that section of road. Yes, these things are also been done in Bombay and Pune highway. So this is also interactive lights. When vehicle pass towards it with that wind velocity of vehicle, with the velocity of vehicle, the light will glow into that patch only. The thing which you can say that interactive sensors right now people are keeping in the washroom areas and in the malls also there that are called as interactive lights. As we walk, the sensor works and the light is on. Such types are used on road. These are also the technologies. Next, you can see wind powered lights. Wind powered lights with the motion lights is on and pinwheels to generate the electricity. It will power up and with that motion and intensity and velocity, the light will generate. Next is solar roadways, which is a smart roadways. What is solar roadways? Here I have shown the space is occupied by road to generate electricity via photovoltaic panels. The same panels which are used on the overhead for the terrace for conserving electricity, the same panels are used under the road surface, which is known as solar roadways. Now we can see what are the how is the layers of solar roadways. You can see there is a glass surface. See to the image which I have shown here. Glass surface, LED lighting, usable energy is also been extracted, and water collecting basin. It is all been done during the period of rain. Also, how is water been collected and what can be done towards it. Next, the very main thing which are known as traffic technologies, you can see here look detectors, then the video cameras, then you have the electronic display signs and the smart tags. What are that actually? Smart tags we are using, which is known as fast tags. Even that will be having a good communication towards the application based in your mobile phones. Yes, we are much more going into that smart tags also in detail. Right. Furthermore, applicability will be coming towards it. Next, you can see here loop detectors. What is loop detectors? The speed of vehicle is actually with the sensor is measured. If it is high speeding or if it is not under the speed control, then the fine can be charged, which is known as loop detectors. You can see here image, the very first image from the four images in a box. You can see the first image, that is underground electrical wiring system. There is a system computer fitted, and you can see the electrical meter, induction of loop traffic sensors. Means that we can get to know that if vehicle is coming at what speed, at what way, at what direction, it all can be measured. So it will be helpful where the accident spots are there. Next is CCTV cameras. Everywhere it has been done. Next you can see electronic display signs, right? That this electronic display signs, the general signs are already kept on the highways. If you have seen on the national highways and state highways, they have tried making that, right? And last is we are going to see the smart life pole. Students, this is a new technology which is known as smart life pole. What is smart life pole? Basically these are used on mountain regions where two vehicles are coming on the edges or on the curved sides of the mountain hilly areas. Smart life poles are detected, which will give the users, which will give to the transporter passenger indication that if vehicle is coming on two way, then it can give us the indication of it, which is known as smart life poles. Yes, the figure is very clear. You can see that how it is shown at the sharp curves, they are showing this smart life poles. There are the sensor based working and the technology based working with the usage of network technology, that is with the Wi-Fi connections. Next, we are going to see the technologies which are coming up right now in the railways. The very main sector in railways, technologies are coming up. That is the driverless trains. Yes, we are trying in many developed countries. Driverless trains are not uncommon actually. Many have used on low speed and protected infrastructural only. These are the concepts which are very much into the famous in the foreign countries actually, right? Then we have the hydrogen trains, which is very good. When hydrogen is burned with oxygen to produce huge amount of energy with byproduct being water. A hydrogen powered passenger train currently being tested in Germany actually. It is being trialed in Germany and it can be useful in many countries. Next is you have Maglev trains. What is Maglev trains? At the speed of 430 km per hour and average is 251 km per hour. Maglev started commercial operation in 2004, which is also in Japan. Basically, Japan and China models Maglev train, which is now 600 km, have been developed in India actually. Right. So we are going to use with the highest speed other than Japan and China. So basically, it is like Indore in Madhya Pradesh is successful in developing the prototype actually. So it might come in near future. Now let's see about the smart future of railways. What are the smart futures? If we talk about the Ahmedabad city, what is the smart future? Ahmedabad city is metro right now. We haven't yet completed our phases, but hopefully in near future, if time permits, we will be having the metro, right? So basically, metro will be very helpful to us. After metro, we are going to try even the underground, right? So here I have shown the phase 1 under construction, phase 2 approved, what are the under construction, what is the total length, what is the elevation, all details is been given here. Next we are going to see here that what is hyperloop trains, right? Hyperloop transportation communication, which is developed by Elon Musk actually. What is that? Hyperloop is proposed model of passenger and freight transportation as we have talked. Now you can see here, as I have discussed the glass panel, you can see here the very downward side image, the left hand side image, you can see there is a glass which is a pressurized glass, and in that the vehicle is moving with a tremendous speed, right? So basically is in it is been proposed for the route of between Chennai and Bangalore, sorry, Chennai and Bangalore. If thing go plan, 345 kilometers could be covered in just 30 minutes, right? How it is possible that 345 kilometers in just 30 minutes? You can imagine 345 kilometers will take, if we drive by a car, it will take almost 4.5 hours, at least 4.5 hours, right? Hyperloop transportation system between Mumbai and Pune that would cut the travel time from current 180 minutes for into just 20 minutes, right? So this is the fastest transportation system right now coming up, which will be having the highest technologies, and hopefully it can be also developed for Ahmedabad to Mumbai. We also know that we have the underground project for the Ahmedabad to Mumbai, right? Now let's discuss about the future innovations of airport. Right now smart innovations are also done in airport, that is the automated check-ins. You all have the boarding pass before you reach to the airport, which is the automated one. We have the baggage check-in into it, right? Next is baggage collection and tracking. Yes, that is also automated belt, and we can have that things which is been right now manually is also been done, but possibly we can also have the automation into it. Now we have the laser molecular body scanner. Yes, what is that? During the security check, we will be having the laser molecular. Means we don't require the person to check us. We just go into that machine and we come out. Whole laser connection will be done. The things which are done for our luggage system. If you have seen at the airport, our luggage has been thrown into the scanner system, and that is coming up. But this scanner system is whole for the body, right? So this is how it can be done. You can see effective from distance of 164 feet only, and can detect contrabands and dangerous chemicals in passenger, even they can contact with that also, right? Next is biometric scanner. Yes, very much everywhere it is being used, biometric scanner. Next is translation technology and parking robots. Yes, what is translation technology and parking robots? Translation technology is to and fro in airport technology. If it is required, this technology can be used. Right now we are using the bus system or we have the elevators on airport, but this can be used. And what is parking robots? Parking robots are actually the parking system which is coming up. That is the automized parking system, the layer wise parking system, which is also common right now, can be used in the airport. Next, let's see what is the future innovation of seaports. What is seaports? Seaports basically used for what? It can be basically used in the innovation of how we are doing the logistics, transport and export import business, right? So that is the seaports which are very much required. We require the access control, we require the wireless mobility network, video surveillances, container security and shoreside power. Now these are the major things you have to remember. Actually individually you have to explain that. First of all, let's just see what is access control. In the seaports, when you have, if you have visited any of the seaport, that is highly secured. You cannot directly go into the seaport and have the access to it. You have the permission towards it. There is the Adani port, or if you see the Mundra port, right, Nhava Sheva port in Mumbai. So these are the ports which don't have the direct accessibility, so you need to have the permission towards it. They have the automation into it. The security authorized person can only go inside it. Similarly, wireless mobility, there is requirement of the wireless mobility also, because there are the containers which are coming up and going out. The containers which are here, from here they are going to somewhere else in the other countries also. So we need to have the wireless mobility inside the seaports also, and there are many of the wireless mobility. You can only have the imagination right now what technologies I am explaining, but if you can see and if you can visualize the seaport anywhere, you would be having these parameters inside it. Network surveillance is actually the CCTV cameras, how it works, but for the seaport analysis and all, it should be having the good camera quality and it should be accessible to all. Even now drone technology has developed. Drone can be very much useful in sea. If any smuggling can be done, it can be analyzed through that technology only. So network surveillance camera are very important. Container security, what we are sending, what we are gaining, that is import and export of any other countries, which is the major impact in our development of our country, right? So that is what is container security, is very much into the hands of people who are working and handling on seaports, right? And lastly, shoreside powers. With the powers of shoreside and with the technologies, even the sites or powers energy can be preserved. We also preserve and sustain the energies it required and which are developed from the containers, right? Next we have the smart future innovations of riverways. What is riverways? Bhadbut Canal project, if you have heard, which is the largest riverways right now in India. We are planning, and through that many of the cities and many of the people who are not having water will be getting water in near future, right? There are 111 inland national waterways in India. 106 national waterways created in 2006, right? Now, major operating rivers in India are Prayagraj, right, hilly stretch of Brahmaputra River, Hooghly River, right? You have heard this all almost. I would like to clear, this topic is not much more important, but yes, you should be knowing the major impacts of riverways. What are the riverways? Which are the national waterways, right? Waterways in India, basically, and you have to remember which are the major rivers, right? So here NW3 Kollam Kottapuram stretch of West Coast Canal and Champakara Canal. These are the Kerala, and length is 205 kilometers, which is a good way, and waterways can be properly had. Now next is we are going to see the sea canals. Which are the sea canals? Basically sea canals are constructed to cut down the travel area of the sea, which is known as shortcuts basically. So there are two shortcuts. The first is Panama Canal, right? In last module also we have discussed the Panama Canal. Panama Canal is artificially 82-kilometer waterway in Panama that connects the Atlantic Ocean with the Pacific Ocean. Yes, because we do the transport for, we do the export for other different countries, different regions, and that is why this sea canals has been made, so that the route can be shortened and it can be economical alternative also, right? Now let's see what is underground tunnel and underwater tunnel. Right, underground tunnel you might have heard. Underwater tunnel in other countries it has been used. It is an underground passageway dug through the surrounding soil, earth, rock, and enclosed except for the entrance and exit commonly at each end. Underground tunnels in many countries you have heard of it. So underground tunnels may be used for road traffic, rail traffic, or for canals actually. Tunnels are used for water supply, civil, electrical power, or telecommunication. Right? Basically, this concept was developed during the military purpose and during the military time if they require. But right now we are using, because there is so much congestion on the surface transportation. So we are moving into the underground. You might have heard of it, the underground. facilities. Next, we are going to see underwater tunnels. What are the underwater tunnels? Undersea tunnel is a tunnel which is partly or wholly constructed under the body of water. Yes, student, it requires much of the fluency force, right? Buoyancy force. We all know that if I keep anything in water, it should stay stable into the water, right? So you require the buoyancy force into it. And the world longest railroad tunnel in Japan is 34 miles, and undersea rock tunnel between the island of Honshu and Hokkaido is the 14.4 miles, right? Yet now we cannot search about the underwater tunnel actually, because it requires a good technology and construction process. But yes, China and Japan into the underwater tunnel. You have to know the more of the mechanism of the underwater tunnel in this for this module actually, right? But the underground tunnel also underwater. Remember, there are two difference. Underground, you might have heard, underground might be in Ahmedabad, possibly in near future we can plan for it. Underwater is might difficult, but yes, we are working into the underwater tunnels also. Now, till now we have discussed all the sectors of almost transportation. Let us see for the energy sources. What are the sources we have? The first of all, what we are right now thinking is the hydropower, water, electricity from water actually, right? What is hydropower? Hydro is a Greek word which means water actually, right? The force of falling water from dams, rivers, or waterfall is used to turn the turbine, which then drives generator that produce electricity. Now you can see here the image which I have shown. The water which is falling is going into the turbine from the transformer to the transmission line, and actually the energy is generated. You have to read these theories. What I have explained actually has been written point wise, but you see the image. As you see, you will get the knowledge what I am telling. How is the electricity being produced from the hydro? As of 30th April 2017, India installed utility scale hydroelectric capacity of 44,595 megawatts, or 13.5% of its total utility power generation capacity. Right. So we are good into the sector of hydropower. We have the largest dam on Koyna River, Maharashtra, hence named Koyna Hydroelectric Power Plant. Right? So this is how is hydropower. Next is solar power. Yes, everybody are into the solar applications only. Every house now people is having the solar panels, right? So that is what is solar power. And we have already discussed in the recent breakthroughs in module 1, that is the PV photovoltaic indirectly using the concentrated solar powers, right? So when PVs are there, it hits the sunlight and it will store the energy, and which is directly being connected to your meter, and the hence energy stored will be cut down from the electricity bill. Now what are the applications? Yes, rooftop and building integrated system, which we have already seen, concentrated photovoltaic, solar farms, rural electrification, and in transportation. In transportation, in near future we can plan the electric cars, electric two-wheelers are coming up. So for that also we can preserve. Even the rural electrification can be done if small plates are kept in the rural areas. Then rural electrification can be done. Solar farms, yes, we have seen the for the preservation of farm, for the preservation of energy, there is a solar panels kept on the solar farms. Next is wind power. Yes, wind power or wind energy is the use of wind to provide mechanical power through wind turbine. You are also aware of this wind power energy is sustainable and renewable. Right now, Suzlon windmills are working on it, who is generating wind powers. Right. The total wind installed capacity in Tamil Nadu is 7633 megawatts, 7633. You have also seen the windmills when you are going towards the Kutch region, right? There are many windmills. Gujarat has 16% of total capacity of country, right? You have seen here that installed 51 megawatts wind energy farm at Bhuj in Gujarat. Now, tidal energy. What is tidal energy? We have three things, that is tidal barrage, tidal stream generation. You can see here with the waves of tidal energy, we can generate the energy. High water level and the head height with sluice gate, you can see how is keeping the turbine, the energy can be generated. So, tidal barrage is a dam-like structure used to capture the energy from masses of water moving in and out. That is the tidal energy. If you see the dams, near the dams also tidal energy structures are kept actually. So with the force of dam, when the dam is overflowing, with the force of that, even we can generate the energy. Even near the sea, tidal energy can be generated. We are thinking of it and we have already planned for it. The higher the waves, we can generate the energy. Similarly, tidal stream generation. See to the image, very corner, left hand side corner, I have shown the kinetic energy of the flowing water to power turbine placed beneath the water. So beneath the water, we can generate the energy. So tidal energy is also very important in near future, which are this all energy we are sustaining for the near future and the other generations which are actually coming up. So we don't have the we don't have the existence of energies which are right now there, but in near future if we don't have that, then we are trying all these artificially to develop the energy, and we have that energy in near future also. Now, the main question of water provisioning, student, I would like to tell you here that if any world war comes now in our situation or in our area, then it will be for the water actually, because water is very less and we need to produce that. Artificial producing of water is the concept right now people is working on. You have seen the water meters at every house. Till now we didn't have any water meters for our house, but right now people is paying for the water and we have the water meters because the temperature is increasing. We are not getting the rainfall what we want and what we actually have before previous years ago, and that is what is creating that we are not storing the water, and hence what happening, we are not having the water as per our utilities and requirement. So this is the major question right now coming up. So there are many technologies which come, which is known as rainwater harvesting, renovation of traditional water bodies and tanks, reuse of water and recharge of structure, and use of modern irrigation method. Let's see and discuss what are the water conservation strategies, because this is the important question. Rainwater harvesting. Yes, many of the people or the citizen right now keeping the rainwater harvesting system in their home itself, in their house itself, right? They are constructing their house in such a way that rainwater can be harvested in their home itself, and it can be used for the other purpose other than what they are using for the drinking facilities. So this can be done, avoid flooding, runoff can be avoided, and hence it can be utilized in good ways. So water is not wasted actually. Renovation of old structures and traditional water bodies. Basically government has launched some scheme, and with that scheme only the recharge well and the structure which are very old is renovated, so water can be conserved and preserved. Even water table can be raised because our water table is very low and we don't have much of water left. Now let's see what is the reuse of water and recharge structure. Actually, in India there are lot many regions right now. If we see on the Junagadh side, if we see on the stretch of Khambhat near Anand and Gujarat, you can see that there are the cities where people are not getting water even after two days. And that is why reuse and recharge of structure is very much important, because urbanization is increasing, requirement of water is actually increasing, right? So that is been much required, that what can be done into it. Similarly, you can see the modern techniques for irrigation purpose, even for the wastewater which has been generated can be used for the irrigation with the smart technologies, so water is not wasted and we can have the good water for the human beings. Next, there is a telecommunication needs in India. If you have heard, here I would like to give an example. Telecommunication needs means we will be using such a band, we will be using such a wireless communication, we will be having the good Wi-Fi facilities, good internet facilities. As we have moved to the 5G, we might move to the 6G, we might move to the 7G, but the internet facilities should be increased. Now you have heard Elon Musk is working on the satellites that some meter ahead also you can have the communication face to face with that satellites, whether 600 meter or 400 meter, right? So that technology is right now coming up. The satellites will be having such a facility that we will be having the good speed of internet actually, right? That based on the satellite communication technology. So here different types of wires are used according to the different telecommunication. India needs 1 lakh additional towers to take care of growing data and voice requirement. Yes, there are the cities and towns where right now technology, telecommunication technology is not much more developed. So telecommunication cables and industries in India growing at the rate of 15%. Fiber to the premises, fiber to the home, fiber to the building, which is always required. Codes and standards governing infrastructure and development. You can see here there are various codes and standards which we need to follow before we develop any technologies, because that will only help us to do that if it is possible for our country or not, for our city or not, because these codes and standards are made by governmental body, and by looking to the scenario, city elevation, all the profile, all the demographic profile, all the people residing, everything has been seen, and these codes and standards are made by the government, that is for the railroad, airport, each and every sector, infrastructural sector have codes and standards to be followed actually, right? So according to that only we can do. If we make, for example, if we make a railway station, then the railway station should also be having the capacity should be this much only. So there are the rail codes also that we need to follow. If we make any road development, if we say national highway, state highway, golden quadrilateral, then that also have some standards and fixed rules what can be used, right? Similarly for the telecommunication also. So basically the standards are made that accordingly to that standard only we can have. So traditional method moving to the technological method, but keeping into the reference of these codes, which will be very much helpful to us, right? Failure will be less if we follow the standards and code. And last is ensuring sustainability. Last topic is ensuring sustainability and improving the energy efficiencies. Yes, with this all we need to improve, and we need to have all the technologies which are relevant and the sustainable things which will helpful to us in near future. So infrastructural development will leading us to the GDP, which will be very helpful to the citizen who are residing into the particular city and country. And we can move ahead with the technologies, even citizen can have a good communication and good quality of life, right? But for that we all need to work towards it, and for that technology is very important. But remember here which word is important: infrastructure. And infrastructure is leading to whom? Civil engineer, right? And civil engineering field. So all the parameters related to GDP, related to gross domestic product, related to how our economy can move ahead, that all is related to the sector of infrastructure. So these are the things and these are the topics which are very important for this module, and these are the technologies which we are coming up. Thank you. Right?